We like to think that we've collectively moved past things like animal cruelty, that our species has evolved far beyond the grotesque tradition of abusing lesser beings for entertainment. After all, concepts such as circus animals have largely died off, or have at least become few and far between. But just because most of the suppliers of zoo sadism have been pushed into extinction doesn't necessarily mean the same for its consumers. And unfortunately, as we'll come to find out today, they're far from being eradicated. The internet, being the all-purpose tool that it is, has given these sick people a new way to get what they want, and to get away with it. This shouldn't come as a surprise considering some people manage to procure other disturbing content, sometimes even right under our noses, and even market it to children. You've probably heard of the topic of today's video before, but if you haven't, you'll be wishing you never did. This is the story of the community that grew around the YouTube phenomenon of baby monkey hate, also known as Million Pity or Million Tears, a name they've earned due to the broken English in the titles of many of the videos. If you are squeamish about the topic of animal abuse, I urge you not to continue watching. Viewer discretion is advised. YouTube, ever since the beginning, has been very heavily associated with videos of animals, whether it be pets or wildlife. The very first video uploaded, after all, was of Jod, one of the founders of YouTube, at the zoo.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool.
If you're old enough to remember, some of the biggest videos on the platform were just that, so it followed that many people who worked with animals started creating channels dedicated to their profession in hopes of gaining a viewership. Obviously, all of this was innocent, and is rightly remembered as such. However, in 2011, 24/7 wildlife broadcasting network, Wild Earth, uploaded a video called Induna the Male Leopard Catches a Baby Monkey. This video was exceedingly different from the kind that would usually get popular, since it was quite literally the opposite of cute. Yet, within a year of its upload, it had already garnered over 100,000 views, which, for the time, was a pretty big number. Nowadays, the video has over 900,000 views. So, what's happening here?
Well, it's going to be quite distressing for, I think, some viewers, but this is unfortunately part of life and part of nature, and this is how cats react. And if you think about your pet cats at home, it's no different to what cats do with birds and mice and things like that. It's just on obviously a larger scale.
Well, if you check out an old snapshot of the video on archive.org, or just peruse the comments from back then, you start to see something strange. A few of the comments visibly came from a playlist called Torture House Monkeys. Most of the comments make sense given the context of the video, but further inspection still shows a few odd outliers. One deleted comment from an account called I Hate Monkeys 666 said something that was apparently shocking enough to result in another commenter saying the following: "Wow, serious hate. Hope you're joking. Could comment more, but I guess there's no point really." Apparently, this deleted account in particular commented on multiple other videos of the same genre, and although we can't see what the comments were, we can see the replies they got. One person said, "I'll help it. Now, where did I put my 22?" referring to a 22 caliber firearm. Another remarked, "You need to start taking video of that," presumably meaning that whatever sadistic acts I Hate Monkeys 666 described in their original comment, this person wanted them to actually film it. If you try using time filters on Google to look for monkey hate, you'll see that before the 2010s, there was nothing whatsoever about it, other than a few PETA protests over labs that ran test trials on monkeys. This is because, at that time, these interactions were relatively atypical and weren't indicative of any larger trend or community. But, as time went on, something much bigger and uglier would rear its head. When the 2010s rolled around, for whatever reason, the pastime of baby monkey hate exploded, and opposed to it being just a few outliers like in the past, thousands of people spontaneously began rallying around any and all videos wherein monkeys, specifically baby monkeys, were suffering in one way or another. You can see for yourself just how popular this content is by looking up baby monkey hate or other similar terms on YouTube, where you'll find videos with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. There are even playlists that compile dozens of these videos, titled things like Monkey Having a Bad Time or tormenting baby monkeys. For the longest time, all of this flew right under the radar, since most of the videos weren't of explicit torture, but were instead just documenting natural occurrences in the wild or in captivity. Yet still, people commented saying the most vile things imaginable. Could watch this all day. I hate monkeys, especially their babies. Love how he toys with it and makes it suffer in pain and fear before he ends its disgusting little life. Kill that fucking squealing piece of shit rat. Whatever the content of the video, whether innocuous, such as in the case of baby monkey tries to hang on to his mom, or darker, like this monkey was hit by a vehicle, the comments are the same. On the former, you have people saying things like, "We shot these tree rats by the hundreds in Australia," or "Aw, let me stomp on it." And the comments on the latter video include, "Was the vehicle okay? Vehicle didn't do its job. Ugly thing is still alive. Cut the hands off. Love to torture that rat. I pay you to torture it." And last but not least, hope it's suffering every day, slowly dying a painful death. These nasty, disease-carrying, shit-eating vermin deserve to suffer. Whoever put it in that cage must enjoy watching it suffer every day too, with 2 laughing crying emojis at the end. You may have noticed the idiosyncrasies in the way these commenters speak, such as the unique terminology they use, which seems to have naturally sprung up over time in the community. They make frequent use of terms such as rats, vermin, monks, tree rats, and tree devils to refer to monkeys. They even use the term milk maggots to specifically refer to babies, showing how they particularly detest infant macaques, and simultaneously exposing their strange fixation on the mother-child relationship. In fact, that's a topic they frequently fixate on in their comments. When they're not exhibiting just simple cruelty, they're displaying a strange focus on the dynamics between the mothers and their newborns, and they incorporate this into their depravity, such as on the video, "Baby Monkey Refused by His Own Mother." The mother is being a smart one. A tree rat's mother knows when a baby is defective and will discard it. Happens all the time in the animal kingdom. When a baby monkey is rejected by his own mother, who should be left alone and let nature take its course. Then drown it if his mother's refused him. It seems that what's more appealing to certain viewers than just monkeys suffering in general is baby monkeys specifically being hurt or abandoned by their parents. Like in this video, terribly sad, baby monkey beaten by mother monkey. Wish the mom would leave it behind. Now that would make for an interesting YouTube channel. I know, right? My dog chewing on one of these tree devils all day and night would make a terrific channel. I'd watch it, maybe pretend it's a Pez dispenser. All tree goblins must be neutralized. Ah, you sound like a true person of culture. Well met. Where they truly take the obsession to another level is with their specific knowledge about the specific monkeys in the video. I can't stand when she does this shit. When Jill's baby gets hungry and starts to try to nurse, Ashley will start biting him and pulling his hair, just like she has done to Donnie and the other babies. Pigtails don't share their babies at all. I don't like that pigtails think they can go around stealing other babies from their mothers and don't want to give them back. It's possible that naming the monkeys, describing their personalities, and just generally humanizing them is part of the appeal. You cultivate a bond with the creature so that when you take pleasure in its suffering, it's all the more sick. It's one thing to watch videos of animal abuse. It's another to intentionally form a parasocial connection with the animal involved. There's something truly sick going on here. By all appearances, this spectacle didn't migrate onto YouTube from elsewhere, but materialized there and just festered for years until people started noticing. No insidious organization or group acting in the shadows and pulling the strings, just people who, for whatever reason, hated monkeys excessively. That aspect is possibly the most puzzling, because it's nearly impossible to wrap your head around the mentality of the very real people behind the screen. They aren't bots. If you check out the accounts who post these types of comments, a lot of them seem like completely normal people in every other facet of their lives. Take this commenter, for example, TA2 Joe 13. I would have just left the little sack of shit there to starve to death, sucking on its mother's dried up teat. Or, I'd have it buried alive with its sack of shit mother. 2 less vermin in the world. You'd presume that anyone who would say this kind of horrific thing must be a basement-dwelling freak. But if you look for this user's alias on the internet, you'll find that he's a husband and father of 2. Ironically, considering his hatred and enjoyment in the suffering of monkeys, his Facebook posts show that he is a staunch advocate for the Canadian Green Party, is passionate about climate change, and is deeply angry when he sees a cat get run over. I'd like to know what kind of worthless piece of shit would purposely go out of their way to run down someone's pet. This is what happened to me last night. Some goof ran over a beautiful Russian blue cat in front of my house, right in front of me. The poor thing died in my hands as I tried to comfort it. It happened so fast that I couldn't get the plate number, because if I had, I would eventually run across that fucker and he'd get it. So why is this guy normal in his everyday life, but when it comes to monkeys, he suddenly becomes a psychopath? Well, one of the videos on his YouTube account is titled Vietnam Vet's Poem, where he describes the atrocities he witnessed when he was deployed. A review of his on a psychiatrist page reveals that he was being treated, possibly for PTSD, given his past history. But one comment of his in another video is particularly important. I bet if you lived where these nasty little fuckers are, and you had your house ransacked on numerous occasions by them shitting and pissing everywhere, destroying your possessions, would your song still be the same? Probably not. This suggests that his hatred for macaques came from negative experiences of his during his deployment in Vietnam, a country in Southeast Asia where rhesus monkeys, the ones most commonly at the receiving end of the monkey hatred, are from, and where they are considered pests. I only deep dived into this particular commenter to give you a primer on how this community operated for years. I won't exhaustively go about inspecting every single one of them, but if you look into it yourself, the brunt of them are completely normal, outside of their seething hatred for monkeys. People who you really wouldn't expect, such as boomer moms and dads, are obsessively compiling playlist upon playlist of content revolving around monkeys dying or being hurt. As a rule, they are just mentally ill. Plain and simple. Despite it being grotesque and seemingly unlikely, without any orchestration whatsoever, hundreds of people from all over the planet and from different walks of life began congregating solely around their shared interest of watching monkeys in pain. At this point in time, there was no million pity collective as we would come to know later. Despite the shocking nature of these comments, this community has been dramatically underreported on, considering this behavior has been going on for well over a decade now. This whole ordeal goes far beyond even the fake animal rescue channels, which have been covered considerably, who intentionally endanger and harm animals for the sake of making content about rescuing them. In that case, people are being deceived, and they're interested in the videos without being privy to the abuse. But here, viewers are actively seeking it out, purely to satisfy their sadism. With documentaries like Don't Fuck With Cats being a popular phenomenon, I'd imagine a well-known figure would have latched onto this by now and made it their issue. However, because of the fluidity of the community and the sheer niche nature of this topic, people have either not taken it seriously or didn't even know about it at all. The anonymous internet investigators, who paid this story attention when no one else would, started trying to understand why this was all happening. These monkey haters typically excuse their insane sadistic hobby by saying that it was just nature taking place, or that the macaques were comparable to rats or cockroaches. Vermin, basically, thus making it completely natural to hate them. The only flaw in that explanation is that, despite our consensus that cockroaches are vermin, nobody is so invested in their disgust for cockroaches that they'll spend their days actively compiling videos of them being tortured and separated from their mothers, as the macaque haters seemingly spend their entire day doing. Certainly, this hatred of theirs had a much deeper root, one that either they didn't know themselves, or that they were trying to obfuscate. One theory was that it had to do with an evolutionary bias. Monkeys having been our competitors millions of years ago, some people nowadays still carry a genetic memory of our ancestors' hatred for them. This theory usually comes paired with the uncanny valley explanation, that we are naturally very disturbed by anything that looks mostly human, but just a little bit inhuman, such as mannequins or monkeys. As clever as that is, that fails to explain why the monkey hate community didn't hate all monkeys. They discriminated specifically against macaques, and even within macaques, seeing as they were keen on rooting for the bigger macaque whenever it was hurting the smaller one. With this in mind, internet Sherlocks began evaluating the common traits of the monkey haters. Other than the odd bad personal experience with the monkeys, haters tended to be middle-aged, and as we went over before, hyper-focused on baby monkeys being abused or abandoned by their mothers, which suggests that these people were abused themselves. It's a bit of a cliche, I know, but it makes the most sense given that if you were born a couple generations back, corporal punishment was a lot more common, and that victims of abuse have a higher likelihood of becoming abusers themselves, identifying with their abuser in order to cope with their trauma and feel in power over what happened to them. This is all to say that these people must have been trying to continue the cycle of abuse by proxy, via the baby monkeys. This becomes evident when you see that the people who make the playlists about monkeys being hurt will often also make playlists of other animals hurting their babies, or worst of all, of human children being hurt. It's widely known that one of the most common characteristics among serial killers is to have a strong interest in torturing and killing animals at an early age, before moving on to human victims later in life. So much so that it's how we're taught to identify when someone is at risk of being a psychopath. With that in mind, there's more than enough reason for concern here, but this is only half of the story. The monkey hate community didn't stay disorganized forever. Some people saw the demand for monkeys being hurt under wildlife and zoo videos, and instead of being shocked and appalled, they saw an opportunity to become suppliers and distributors. It was just another market to be tapped into. In 2016, after the community got too large for YouTube's comfort, and some of the videos and playlists began being taken down, we saw the rise of the Million Tears forums. Though it's proven extremely difficult to find concrete evidence that a group was orchestrating the monkey hate phenomenon, around 2015, the comments and video titles began to be clusters of the same phrases and words written in broken English: million pity, trillion tears. Apparently because of one particular video from July 8th, 2014, which has since been deleted from YouTube, of two rhesus macaques being attacked by ants. Though the video is not up, there's an article on Peepsburg mentioning it, and while describing what happens in the video, it says, "Million bite, million pity." This became a calling card for the Western consumers of these videos that were usually made by Southeastern Asians who couldn't speak English, as a way to dog whistle their shared interests in an implicit manner, as to prevent other people from instantly understanding what was going on. Along with their hiding in plain sight, a few channels started becoming hubs for monkey abuse, one of which was called Peter Riddle, whose profile picture was an image of Peter Scully, the convicted murderer behind one particularly infamous CP video called Daisy's Destruction. In any event, this made it very clear that the sadism these people displayed towards baby monkeys had only a blurry line separating it from pedophile sadists who were interested in any and all kinds of hurtcore videos. Other accounts also included CP in their names, such as CPPC, CP Daily, and CP Wild Lanka. It's hard to find currently existing traces of all of these accounts' behaviors, given that most, if not all of them, have been deleted by YouTube. Thank God. But at least one of the people who frequently interacted with the Riddle account was one called Piosphorus, which had a video of two men in makeup reacting to Daisy's destruction. It's also worth noting that the amount of women who engage in monkey hate is very disproportionate, considering how rare it is you find a female violent criminal. Yet, when it comes to this phenomenon, they're not rare at all. I won't fully get into the thick of who's who, because there are simply too many people engaging in it for me to do that. But the information is readily available, since most of the active monkey haters tend to use their real names on the internet, probably because they're boomers who are otherwise not internet literate. In any event, these disturbing recurring themes piqued people's interest and curiosity, because as far as YouTube goes, the majority of the videos seem to be re-uploads of harmless content originally made by Southeastern Asians, and never actual torture. Yet, all of the accounts were visibly not Asian, but Western people, and the comment sections were teeming with people saying vile things and signaling that they wanted to see more, which screamed that the comment sections were being used as some kind of meeting ground for something more sinister, not unlike with Elsagate. The problem is, no one could actually find where the commenters came from or where they were being recruited to, so the topic was nothing more than an obscure hypothetical for a long time. That is, until 2019. One Redditor posted to the Reddit Bureau of Investigation subreddit asking about a Discord server they were DM'd an invite to called Boys Club. wherein people were discussing killing baby monkeys and CP. To those who were familiar with the topic, this was an immediate call to action. Finally, a new lead. Within 5 minutes, the OP's account had been deleted. It's unknown whether he deleted it himself. When people on X, the paranormal board of 4chan, started trying to manually look for the Boys Club Discord server, they found this, a server for gay meetups targeted at teenagers 13 to 18. Apparently, it was led by someone named Poyozo, but barely any information about it survived, since not very long after it was discovered, it was shut down. The monkey hate community then went silent for pretty much the entire duration of 2020. Not because it was inactive, but because they had much darker objectives in their sights. With the grassroots heat they had attracted from run-of-the-mill internet users, it seemed they decided that, if they were going to keep doing what they did, they'd double down and go professional. In 2021, multiple articles were published, namely on Vice and the UK independent newspaper, about an investigation done by Action for Primates, an advocacy group for the prevention of animal cruelty, particularly targeted at monkeys. Their investigation turned up with a now-deleted forum, on Forum Motion, and a Telegram group, along with other, usually smaller, Facebook groups that would operate mainly by selling videos of monkeys being tortured. Only this time around, they weren't just procuring and distributing the videos. Instead, they were producing new ones. In a sickening international partnership, self-defined leaders of the monkey hate community started reaching out to those in Indonesia, where rhesus macaques are considered pests, and struck a deal with them. Contrary to a popular theory about how the monkey haters were third worlders, it's only at this point when they started knowingly participating in this hellish industry. And I don't say industry lightly, due to the extreme poverty of these countries and the Khmer Rouge, which decimated veterinarians. Good animal care isn't exactly easy to come by, so it's a common occurrence for animals to receive makeshift healthcare and end up in pain or poorly taken care of. Certain Southeastern Asian channels, particularly Cambodian ones, noticed that the videos that got the most views and comments were videos of hurt monkeys. Now this means a lot to them, considering that being a doctor in Cambodia makes you around $2,000, which is at least 3 times less than what the lowest paid US doctors average a month. In comparison, becoming a VO, a video operator, as the monkey haters call them, has them earning a lot of AdSense revenue in US dollars, which is worth hundreds of times more than their currency. So, when these people noticed that videos of monkeys being hurt performed well, they capitalized on it as much as they possibly could, much like the animal rescue channels that purposely abuse or let animals get hurt to then take care of them. The Cambodian channel's entire business model was identical. But they weren't the only VOs around. There were also the Indonesians, and their story is very different. It seems that, beginning in 2020, Western consumers of the content started reaching out to Indonesians and offering more money to basically commission the monkeys to be hurt in specific ways, and the Indonesians complied, seeing as, much like the Cambodians, their extremely impoverished country and debased currency meant that the $100 to $150 they would make from each monkey torture video was worth a lot more to them than it was to the consumers, especially since macaques sell for about $20 each in Indonesian pet stores. At this point, videos were turning up of monkeys being beaten, thrown into muddy holes, and other reprehensible acts. Still, despite how extreme the content was getting, most people were stumped as to the source of it. They knew Indonesians were behind it, but who specifically? One particular Redditor by the name of Exposed Throwaway 2222 decided to infiltrate the monkey haters. His work is honestly praiseworthy. Not only did he have to witness a lot of not safe for life monkey snuff videos, but he also had to actively pretend to be a monkey hater to blend in for long enough to figure it out, which, according to him, was a gut-wrenching undertaking. These are the relevant bits of his post regarding the producers. Here's the information I have on the 2 biggest and most notorious monkey torture video producers. Both of them live in Indonesia, but that's all I know about their location. First, I'll describe the most notorious of the 2 most popular torture video producers, and also the most well-known. This is the person who ran the Telegram server that made it into mainstream news articles last year. Before producing that type of content, he was a typical pet baby monkey YouTuber who over time gravitated towards hurting baby monkeys to attract a reliable audience of monkey sadists. He is most commonly known as G-Owner. Within the monkey hate community, community since he was famous for owning a heavily traumatized baby monkey named G that he exploited for views on his old YouTube channel. G herself was famous for constantly holding the back of her head with her hands and rocking back and forth due to a traumatic upbringing. Somehow, the monkey sadist found that hilarious, and now G is something of a mascot to them. You can find out a lot about that by typing Monkey G into the YouTube search bar. There are a ton of videos documenting the abuse this man has wrought against baby monkeys while he was still just a YouTuber a few years ago. Once YouTube banned him, he became a full-time monkey snuff video producer. New videos of G are still being uploaded to YouTube, but the channel that does this claims to be a new owner and not the original G owner. I don't know whether or not that's true. G owner's monkey torture videos are easily distinguishable by an outdoor jungle setting. He can also be identified by his very long, gross fingernails and by the presence of his buddy who holds the camera for him. While preparing different videos, he turns off the camera to avoid getting his face or other identifying information in the shot. He almost always kills the monkey at the end of each sequence of short clips, usually totaling around 12 minutes per monkey. Monkey sadists consider his videos the gold standard of monkey snuff because of his unmatched brutality. They pay him anywhere between $150 to $300 per series, depending on the torture instruction and weapons required. The second most notorious producer is a man also from Indonesia. He used to run a pet monkey YouTube channel called Mas Poche, and that's the name monkey sadists most commonly know him by. That channel was banned by YouTube in late 2021, but he keeps popping up under new names, moving from channel to channel as YouTube plays an extended game of whack-a-mole with him. He doesn't upload torture videos directly to YouTube, but he does mistreat them in his YouTube videos. That consistently leads to his channels getting banned. The purpose of those channels, as far as I can tell, is to advertise to monkey sadists, who then contact him elsewhere to buy custom videos. You can tell which channels are his by the distinct layout of his property and an assortment of recognizable cages that he keeps his monkeys in. Sometimes you can even recognize the monkeys that appear in his YouTube videos as monkeys tortured in his privately sold torture videos. Mas Poche is more prolific as a torture video producer than G owner, but his videos tend to be shorter, averaging 5 minutes each. This is because he is more than willing to have a multitude of clients, unlike G owner, who keeps maybe 3 at most at a time. Mas Poche leases monkeys to his clients long term. Instead of killing them in each video, he is open to only injuring them and keeping them to produce more videos with later. This allows him to lease each monkey to multiple people, who are then only allowed to request non-lethal torture so that the monkey may be reused. If a client wishes to kill a monkey, they pay more to adopt one for the privilege of deciding the monkey's fate. How much money these people are actually making from whatever it is that they're doing is unknown, but the fact is they must be profiting quite a bit from it, so much that it's attracted other people to this trade. There's at least 6 others that we know of, all Southeastern Asians tied to creepy pictures of children and restaurants. That's it for the producers, which leaves us with the distributors, and that means we're no longer dealing with impoverished people in devastated countries, but instead wealthy Westerners who are willing to finance this whole monkey torture industrial complex. So, who's paying the producers, and why do they do what they do? It's bad enough to know that, not only has animal cruelty not gone away, it's become a spectator sport. However, it's orders of magnitude worse to know that there are people out there who, in addition to profiting from these horrific acts and videos, are actively trying to promote and grow their network of clients. It just adds a layer of evil on top of an already depressing reality. And this only came about because a select few decided to assemble this loosely tied bunch of psychos into what technically qualifies as an international criminal organization of animal abuse rings. Enter O-chan, a Slavic 4chan alternative that, much like 8chan, is significantly more lax when it comes to moderation and keeping not safe for life content out of their boards. After their YouTube hubs began being reported and taken down for animal abuse, obviously, they took their networking to O-chan, creating a board called /pity in which they could share links to their private Telegram chats where they exchanged the content. One particular individual, going by the name of Mr. Ape, decided to make himself the de facto leader of the board by posting the following: "Call me Mr. Ape. I am in possession of a large collection of monkey videos. These videos feature a wide range of content, from mild to extreme and everything in between. Many of them I am sure you have already seen, are available here or elsewhere in your own collection. However, I also know I am in possession of some of the rarest and hardest to find content. I am so tempted to share them with you, but there is a problem. It has recently come to my attention a small private collection of videos exists. Only a handful of people are aware of it, and even less have access to it. I have received the details on the videos, and they are well worth the cost. It's just, I cannot personally pay the entire amount. All I need from you guys is some money in crypto, and I will drop all of the files here in a bulk file, including the new private vids. For anonymity concerns, I do not want to just say the total cost, but it's really not that bad if the cost is spread out. As soon as the right amount is reached, I will let you all know. I will be dropping vids here regularly, bit by bit, to encourage donations and prove I'm telling the truth. Rest assured, I am one of you guys and I am not here to fuck you. All I want is to grow and benefit the monkey hate community. The post was followed by a series of cryptocurrency addresses, which people proceeded to send money to. Much to the loss of my faith in humanity, people barely even objected or accused him of being a scammer, and instead proceeded to send him money, and promptly, new videos started popping up, coming from Mr. Ape. Hundreds and hundreds of new videos. An interesting little side note about Mr. Ape's thread is that, at one point, an Anon suggested an expansion into the cat abuse market, which was seriously frowned upon by other monkey haters. I mean, you're asking someone calling themselves Mr. Ape about cats. You're about as retarded as they come. Even more so thinking monkey abuse is in any way related to your sadism. Nobody wants you here. We love animals, only hate macaques. You're in the wrong place. You're also functionally illiterate if you think Mr. Ape is the one filming these videos. He has stated over and over and over and over that he is not the one making the content. You are extremely fucking stupid that you somehow read his post and cobbled together some scenario where he may be willing to torture cats. You're also an absolute coward, considering feral cats probably exist in your area, and you're too afraid to hurt anything yourself, so you beg strangers to do it for you. I hope your mom gets brain cancer and on her deathbed tells you that birthing you was the biggest regret in her life. Jesus Christ, oh my god. I don't know about you, but it's outlandish to me how selective these people are about their unabashed hatred. One guy reiterates that he has no problems with any other kinds of monkeys whatsoever. It's only the specific species of rhesus macaque. I really didn't expect this level of rigor from zoo sadists. Of all the things to have standards for, this is their priority, contrary to the very hostile and insular boomers, as well as Asians that we've been seeing so far. Mr. Ape was overly amiable to a fault. As to why this friendliness and desire to fit in was targeted at the worst of the freaks on the internet, only God knows. But he went out of his way to pay for and facilitate the production and distribution of the videos, as well as proselytizing for them on 4chan boards like /AN and /GIF. He goes as far as to apologize for the decrease in quality of the videos, which is odd to say the least, considering he not only paid for a lot of the content out of his own pocket and posted them with no paywall, and he himself says the whole ordeal was extremely risky. He also mentions that he has a guy that produces the videos for him, meaning that he most likely struck a deal with one of the aforementioned VOs. According to the 0chan posts, Mr. Ape linked up with whoever was running the Million Tears Telegram group, possibly the same person as Poyozo, who was running the Discord server, and managed to produce videos with over 12 different monkeys since then. The market for the abuse of rhesus macaques was reaching critical mass. But, luckily, there's no honor amongst animal abusers. One of Mr. Ape's cohorts, another monkey hater, decided to out him and reveal his real identity to 0chan. There's no known specific reason as to why this happened, but most of the speculation in the forums tends to be that they felt they weren't getting enough credit for their role in producing the videos. Now, the cat was out of the bag. Mr. Ape was a 27-year-old undergrad with nothing to his name, except having spent what was probably his parents' money on trying to get on the good side of possibly the most unlikable crowd of degenerates online by giving them free videos of innocent monkeys being hurt. And still, he failed. And not only that, he was betrayed, and doxxed, and scammed. As it turns out, his overly friendly demeanor got him repeatedly scammed by various members of the community. One particular story that got a lot of Anon's attention was that of Amber, aka Mother Bloodlust, an individual who claimed they had connections with Malaysian VOs through a Pokemon forum they supposedly ran, and successfully convinced Mr. Ape to make them his number 2. Of course, they vanished immediately after they got Mr. Ape's support and money. And if we're to trust what the other monkey haters have to say about Mother Bloodlust, it was them that doxed Mr. Ape just to get attention. This wasn't the first time that it happened either. Apparently, Mr. Ape had been scammed before by another associate of his. After this whole situation, Mr. Ape went silent, with one anon claiming that he'd been arrested since cops found CP on his devices. Others say he was just deeply hurt by it, as his primary motivation for doing all he did was just so that he would get validated by other pity users. Whether any of this is true or not, we don't know. Of course, it's a good thing that these people are no longer out and about, but make no mistake, the community hasn't gone anywhere. There are still videos being uploaded every single day to YouTube in exactly the same format. All you gotta do is look up Million Pity or Baby Monkey, and you'll see not only playlists, but a myriad of channels that get thousands of views on average at the very low end, and YouTube doesn't seem to have its algorithm attuned to punish this sort of activity quite yet. Though this has received very little attention from YouTube and YouTubers, ever since the Boys Club era, people on other forums have tried to fight back against the monkey hate community, mostly to no avail. However, the most recent attempt, that is, the thread on Kiwi Farms, from which supplied a lot of information for this video, seems to have wrought more fear and paranoia unto the monkey haters. The /pity board is now rife with people commemorating the fact that Kiwi Farms is down, mostly because it was effective at systematically dissecting the myriad of different venues and platforms the monkey haters use to distribute the content. Prying eyes, whether it be YouTubers, journalists, or forum users, pretty much prevents them from ever forming into a proper group. If you didn't know any better, you'd think something like this would be relegated only to the dark web, rather than existing in plain sight on one of the most popular sites of the internet. The pure scope of this community alone is unnerving, as no one would have ever considered such a sick pastime to be enjoyed by thousands or potentially millions. Just how many monkey haters are out there, no one can know for sure, and it's even more mysterious how much this whole industry is worth. We can only hope that its numbers have already peaked, and by shedding more light on it, this community will dwindle and dwindle until it reaches its demise. But for now, the monkey hate community is still very much out there. I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
Times before, and it's just not that funny anymore.